Let the grinding commence. This is the Lorraine 40-ton, the Tier 8 French premium autoloading medium tank. It has some incredibly good things going for it, like fantastic mobility going 60 kilometers per hour, and a great gun dealing 900 damage 7.5 seconds after the first shell is fired. I mean, those are some incredibly deadly numbers when you realize that this is a Tier 8 very, very mobile medium tank. So the fact that Wargaming made a special variant that nobody can buy, that you have to earn by ratings battles, is pretty cool. I mean, I like the concept of the IS-6 Fearless. It was painful. I mean, grinding the IS-6 Fearless in ratings battles was probably one of the most painful things I've ever done in Blitz. It was hours and hours of non-stop painful grinds where you have to try hard, you have to run the most broken, overpowered tanks, and that's all you do. And I did that for literally 4 or 5 hours on live stream, day after day, but I was able to get my hands on the tank, and now Wargaming has once again brought out a new vehicle, which is the Lorraine Fearless. Now, it doesn't really have that big of an advantage over the Lorraine 40-ton. I mean, the biggest advantage is the interclip. It's a 0.2 Fester interclip on each shell. So in total, you're saving about 0.6 seconds, which isn't actually bad. I mean, that's half a second you're shaving off there. I think it does have a teeny bit worse reload, though, so I think it evens out in the most part, but it's just cool to get your hands on the vehicle. You know, it's a special collector tank that not many people are going to get their hands on, so I'm definitely going to do it. Gives me time to engage with you guys, and as well, you guys get to see me suffer, so it's a win-win. Now, for anybody that would like to suffer with me, I'll talk a little bit about the Lorraine 42, what makes it good, what makes it bad, and we'll even do a live battle after this. I just tried recording this earlier, and it turns out that my recording software, the, should I say, the ratio of the screen was not lined up with my computer because I had it set to my laptop. But either way, getting into the Lorraine, well, the good things there are two. As I said, it's got a great clip and fantastic mobility, but to counter that, it has a terrible, terrible armor profile. I mean, that T92E1 doesn't have the most pen, it's about 210, but it's going to butter through me every single shot. And I'm lucky that T92 is not the best of players, because if I was in that T92 aiming at the side of a Lorraine, boom, HE shells straight through it. The frontal armor of this tank is about 40 millimeters thick. Yes, you heard that right, 40 thick. It is terrible. The side armor on the tank is 30 millimeters thick, and the turret is 55. So overall, yeah, the tank really has zero, nada, zip armor. It's going to be penned by basically anything, and judging that this tank has a terrible camouflage rating for the average medium, and it's the size of a double-decker bus, it's not good. I mean, that is one of the biggest disadvantages, and why this is an incredibly hard tank to play. But at the same time, I mean, you just saw me dump off 600 damage there, in fact 620 to be exact, on that 60 TP prototype, or the 50 TP, not the 60 yet. I'm very, very dreading to see that thing on the battlefield, but yeah, that's a pretty nice clip. I mean, you can see it's got very nice pen with calibrated shells because this is an autoloader. You're getting 212 millimeters of standard pen and 259 on the premium. That is very, very good penetration with 0.310 dispersion. It's quite an accurate gun. And the aiming time isn't too bad either. So you saw easily there, I just dumped over 1,000 damage of hit points into that Emil. And that's it. That's 1,000 points gone. And even though I'm only at 300 health, I mean, there's no way I could have done that with any other autoloading vehicle. So that is one thing that I love about the Lorraine is unless you're really in a tier 9 autoloader, or I guess you could have done it in tanks like the Emil, which do have a 900 damage clip. But the difference, of course, is this is a mobile tank, like incredibly mobile. I'm going 62 kilometers per hour here, and even uphill, I'm easily going 45, 50 kilometers per hour. I mean, that is the advantage of a lot of French tanks. I don't think there's really any slow French tanks at higher tiers, but that's great because you use that mobility to then get into position and bam, get some massive clips into the enemy. So this first game, I mean, you can easily see here, I was going to shoot an HE, but I decided just to fire standard. But either way, we're at 2,872 damage, and finishing off that T92E1 that so graciously got 2 shells into me earlier. There we go. I mean, that was 2,900 damage. It wasn't anything incredible, but you can definitely see how even in a very stressful situation, this tank was easily able to overcome with some pretty solid damage. So let's do an actual live game now, see how it works out. Obviously, I'm not sure exactly how everything's going to come, because this is a incredibly hard tank to play. And that's one thing I think a lot of people take for granted on the Lorraine is how hard it is to play. I mean, that clip is 7.5 seconds from the first shell. That is a long time, and when you're up against tier 8s like this, it's not easy. I mean, a tier 8 player, especially like that Primo player there in the Waffenträger, I mean, that guy can easily take off more than half of my hit points with one standard shell. So I gotta be careful with that. Very, very careful. So we gotta hope that the team does a pretty solid job here. Now what I'm gonna do is my standard sit in a bush and wait, because the Lorraine is not one of those tanks that you just skip right in the position. I mean, in the last game you watched, I stayed in the bush, I waited for the enemy to get spotted, and that was it. So I'm gonna wait here. We're gonna see if anybody gets detected. If they do, that is when I will get out some big, beefy shells. We've got tanks. Oh, there's in fact the 50 TP over here. So with the 50 TP over here, I'm just very worried about the Waffenträger, and yep, there he is to be exact. So I'm very worried about that tank. That vehicle is not one that you normally want to mess with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push off to the side, and maybe we can get some big ol' shots into the 50 TP. Not sure if that guy's going to start backing up or what exactly is going to happen from the enemy team, but it's a very weird situation that's going on here. That 50 TP has pushed incredibly aggressive up there. We have the Primo player over here, which I would like to get some big ol' slaps into, but at the same time, got to be extremely careful. Now, I really would like to get some shells into that, but at the same time, we got like the K91 over here. Let's get one shot into the K91. Let's go for 2 shells, and well, we didn't finish him off, but that guy, he's not enjoying life all too much. We do have the Waffenträger off to the side, which is a very deadly tank. I mean, that guy, not one you want to mess with all too often. There's one shell into the Waffenträger. And, well, we're not going to fire an HE, but we'll get a standard shell in there anyway. I mean, that's about, what, 400 hit points taken off? Our team's actually doing a pretty solid job here of pushing up. I just really hope that this 50 TP does not blow his hit points, because I need him to stay alive. I am just chilling over here, but I need his hit points so that I can, of course, use mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload here, and there you go, we got a clip loaded. So let's see, there's the ST1, there's 240 into that guy. Let's go for the trap wheel. There's another 280, and let's go for another shot, 220, and one more. I mean, there you go, that was over 1,000 hit points taken off of that ST1. And with that, that guy's game is basically over. That was half of a tier 9 heavy tank just stripped away. And that is what makes this tank so strong. I mean, you could make the argument that other tanks can do it. And yes, you would be right, other tier 8s can do that. But it's just so strong, the ability to get it out so quickly. So there you go, we're already doing pretty strong here. I mean, we got the Scorpion off to the side. There's one shell into the Scorpion. Let's aim in on the T69. There's one shot into the guy, and let's get one more in. There you go, another 238. And that's the end of the battle. I mean, that was an incredibly easy game. Again, I waited to see where the enemy team was going to be spotted. If the enemy team had been spotted over towards the bush on the medium side I was waiting at, I probably would have ended up flanking around to try and either come up behind the Waffenträger or come up with a different idea, because this tank, as we said, has no armor, and it's massive. So any smart player is going to ruin your day. But played it smart, went off to the other side. That is not Pram Hydrashilla, that is Pram Q. Well, that makes sense. I was wondering why that guy was dying so quickly. Well, that's why. I wasn't really paying attention. I'm sitting a little bit far away from my monitor. But either way, pretty solid game. I mean, we were able to easily come out with the victory. We didn't do the most damage to our team, but man, that ST1, I mean, we took off 984 there. That was super deadly. We managed to take off 215 off that guy, 392, 472. I mean, that's just what I like about the Lorraine, is the ability to have so many shells that usually you have more than you need to finish off any tank you push. It's not an easy tank to play. If any of you own it, you probably know that there are many games that fall apart very quickly. But for the strong-hearted and the strong-willed, this can be a fantastic carrying piece. Let me know what you guys think about it. But other than that, if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, obviously I'm back from a vacation/wedding where I was not able to post videos. I didn't have Wi-Fi, and B, my computer stopped working, so fun. But either way, hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye!